What's up, guys? I'm Chad Barnes, and welcome to the channel. Here, it's all about real car talk, from simple fixes to smart driving tips and keeping your ride in top shape. If that sounds good to you, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, and make sure you watch all the way through. There's a lot of good stuff coming. Let's get to it.
In the spring of 1939, with the introduction of the German occupation, Czechoslovakia became a German protectorate and the main supplier of vehicles for Nazi Germany, and the creation and use of new trucks became the responsibility of the Wehrmacht. German administrations were introduced at all enterprises, production of obsolete vehicles was stopped, and gradually the transition to left-hand controls began. Military vehicles from the Tatra factory. Despite the difficulties, all military products of the Tatra factory, which received its name in honor of the high Tatra's mountain range, were considered a revolutionary achievement of the world level and the most reliable means in difficult road conditions. These included air-cooled engines, load-bearing tubular spine frames, independent suspensions on transverse and longitudinal leaf, springs with oscillating wheel drive axles, light staff vehicles and experimental all-terrain vehicles. The first development of light paramilitary vehicles on the basis of production cars. Tatra 5757A began in the mid-30s and consisted in the assembly of 36 multi-purpose convertibles with outdoors with 2 spares placed behind the rear seats and additional tanks for fuel or water on the right footrest with the beginning of the war. The main Czech staff car was the Tatra 57K with 23 horsepower engine, simplified bodies with flat side panels, and awning with overhead windows. The trucks were supplied to the Wehrmacht, Czech police, and Hungarian army. Until 1945, 5.5 thousand vehicles were assembled. In February 1937, a surrogate mock-up model of the first 4-seat Jeep V750, 4x4, for the Czechoslovak Army was presented and tested. It was equipped with a 30-horsepower air-cooled engine, a central load-bearing frame and suspension of all wheels on transverse springs. At the end of the 30s, several more prototypes of 4- and 5-seater Kubelwagen V799 and V809, 4x4, of its own design appeared. They were equipped with inline and opposition engines with an output from 50 to 74 horsepower, longitudinal wood-metal frame, transmission, with 4 or 8 steps of forward motion, spring, or torsion suspension and hydraulic brakes. Unique multi-purpose 3-axle military vehicles in a small peace-loving country. The origins of military vehicles since 1926 were considered to be the 3-axle 24-horsepower cargo passenger vehicle T26A30 with all inherent design solutions. In the mid-1930s, its successor was the 29-horsepower family Tatra 72, 6x4, with a 4-cylinder engine, which today would be considered a mixture of pleasure cars and delivery trucks. In addition to staff versions, this family included Army 1.5-ton vehicles and carriers of light armament. Before the beginning of World War II, Tatra managed to launch production of 3-axle 55-horsepower family T82 for staff needs and transportation of 2-ton troop cargoes, which included vehicles with different cabins and bodies, single and double rear wheels, and recognizable appearance with a wide sloping nose. A number of trucks had winches and side support rollers. They were assembled in 322 copies. The third-generation Tatra 92 trucks were equipped with an overhead valve air-cooled V8 engine with 74 horsepower and were used as commander's cars or 2-ton trucks for mounting various bodies, as well as used to install closed sanitary bodies. The new multi-purpose chassis Tatra 93, 6x6, of several types with units from the T92 model was created within the contract with Romania for the delivery of 880 military vehicles for various purposes, including 699 trucks. In total, more than 1,300 vehicles of the T92 or T93 family were assembled, including 500 trucks T92 for the Wehrmacht. Simple and legendary Tatra trucks since the mid-1930s, at the behest of the Wehrmacht, the Tatra plant was reoriented to the production of heavy 3-axle army trucks, equipped with several types of gasoline and diesel engines, V-shaped power units, left-hand steering, wheel and spine frame, which opened the way for more advanced all-wheel drive military vehicles. Tatra 85-85A, 1935 to 1941. The Czech Army used 80-horsepower gasoline trucks Tatra 85, 6x4, with all-metal cabs with 3-section windshields, mechanical locking differentials of rear axles and all single wheels with swinging half axles. Their rare feature was the use of different versions of the vehicles with a payload capacity of 4 to 6 tons with 3 sizes. of wheelbases, which allowed them to be adapted to the loads and superstructures carried. On the T-85A chassis with an extended cab were mounted fuel tankers and airfield refuelers with tanks with a capacity of 3,000 litres, a 6-power motor to drive the pumps, rear control compartment and dispensing hoses. In total, 314 vehicles of the T-85 series were built before 1941. 224 of them were fuel tankers, mostly working in the Wehrmacht. Tatra 81, 1939 to 1942. As soon as the Czech Republic was occupied by Germany, on the orders of the German military department, the Tatra plant began to develop heavy diesel army vehicles, on which fundamentally new power units and assemblies were tested. The first in a limited batch of new vehicles was built 6.5-ton truck Tatra 81, 6x4, with a traditional for the plant running gear, and inline 8-cylinder water-cooled diesel engine with an output of 160 horsepower, which was known as the predecessor of the future family of heavy vehicles. In 3 years, 220 vehicles were built. Tatra 111, 1943 to 1945. In 1940, the development of a 3-axle all-wheel drive diesel vehicle and several prototype power units for it began, which were initially planned to be supplied to the main satellite countries, the armed forces of Hungary and Romania. It was based on a 6.5-ton truck T-81, on which was mounted the leading front axle, modified spine frame and rear suspension on longitudinal leaf springs. Only in 1942, after solving many design problems, was ready its own 210 horsepower diesel engine T103 V12 air-cooled with 2 fans, and a working volume of 14.8 litres. Based on the payload, the first truck received the factory index T6500-111, known by simplified designations Tatra 111 or T111. In the process of using the T6500-111, the shortcomings of the boosted engine, insufficient tightness of the joints of the front drive wheels and increased weight with a relatively low payload were revealed. There was no time to improve it, so the military decided to reduce the power of the diesel engine to 200 horsepower, strengthen the rear suspension, and increase payload to 8 tons. So in April 1944, a more reliable truck T8000-111 with a deformed engine appeared in serial production. Another reason for changing the design of this truck was the plan of the German military department to reduce the nomenclature of its heavy truck fleet. As a result, almost all similar German vehicles in the category of 6.5 tons and above were removed from production, and the Tatra-111 was transformed from a secondary machine into a full-fledged heavy vehicle of the Wehrmacht. Structurally, both versions of the T111 were made according to the traditional for the factory Tatra scheme, which included a 16-speed transmission with a 2-stage gearbox, transfer case, differentials of the rear main gears, a mechanism for disabling the front drive and 20-inch wheels. Usually, they were equipped with all-metal cabins and flatbeds 5.5 meters long with longitudinal folding benches, but in the final period of the war, due to the shortage of metal, the trucks were equipped with wood-metal ersatz cabins and van bodies. Tatra 111, with deformed to 175 horsepower engines, participated in troop transportations in Germany, a number of satellite countries and, on the Eastern Front, in Belarus and Ukraine. Till the end of the war, 1445 trucks of all types were produced, 906 of them for the Wehrmacht. In socialist Czechoslovakia, the production of slightly modernized 180 horsepower versions continued until 1952. The title photo shows a 2-ton T-82 truck with a passenger model cladding, all-metal cab, and rear gable wheels. 1935 to 1938. In conclusion, the Tatra vehicles of World War II stand as a remarkable testament to innovative engineering and design. With their distinctive ridge frames and powerful V12 diesel engines, these machines played a crucial role in the Wehrmacht's operations, showcasing the blend of functionality and performance. The air opposition capabilities further enhanced their versatility on the battlefield, making Tatra a significant player in the automotive landscape of the era. As we reflect on this fascinating chapter of history, it is clear that Tatra's contributions were not only pivotal in military logistics, but also laid the groundwork for future advancements in automotive technology. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Tatra's legacy during World War II.